Hello everybody, back for the next part of my Rastakhan's Rumble card review. So, last time we finished on Blast Wave, so let's get straight stuck in with Masked Contender. A 3-mana 2/4 neutral epic battlecry. If you control a secret, play a secret from your deck. So, the potential of this card is like really good. Like a 3-mana 2/4 that pulls a secret out of your deck is really good. But, obviously you have to have a secret in the first place. Obviously this has different strengths based on what class you're playing. Like, pulling a 3-mana Mage secret is much more valuable than pulling a 1-mana Paladin secret. So what the card actually does is really good. But, a lot of the times when you play a secret, it will often get triggered the same turn. So if you're playing like Mage, you play your like Kirin Mage with your counter spell or your explosive runes or mirror entity or something. Try to get like really good tempo while playing the secret. And then this can be really good as well. You get a 2/4 and you pull one out your deck, so you don't even have to draw the secret. You can literally pull out your deck, which is really nice. But a lot of the time the first secret would have got triggered, so it's hard to it's hard to consistently get this off, because you don't want to be playing just a 3-mana 2/4 if you're playing an aggressive deck. That's really bad. Like maybe in Hunter this could be better. Like on turn 5 you can do secret plus Masked Contender, and then you're getting another Hunter secret out your deck. Like Hunter has a lot of good secrets, so maybe Hunter could be somewhere where we could play this. Or maybe you just even want to like play a secret that you know isn't going to get triggered. Like you coin out a secret on 3 that's not going to get triggered, and then you can play this the next turn. But yeah, it's one of those cards where like it looks good, but I think it's harder to pull off than it looks. Okay, Saronite Taskmaster, a 1-mana 2/3 PogChamp. 1-mana 2/3. Don't see many of those. Death Rattle, summon a 0/3 free agent with Taunt for your opponent. So this could potentially be really good. Like a 1-mana 2/3 stats is obviously very good. If this minion never dies, then the Death Rattle effect obviously doesn't take place, and it's literally just a 1-mana 2/3, which is really powerful. The 0/3 free agent might not even matter a lot of the time. Like say you play your 1-mana 2/3, you play some other aggressive things as well. They get a 0/3 guy, and essentially what it might do a lot of the time is literally just restore 3 health for your opponent. So sometimes you could kind of think of this as 1 mana, 1-mana 2/3, give your opponent 3 armor, something like that, which is kind of sacrificing, giving your opponent a bit more health for just trying to get early board control. Obviously, some decks would be able to use the 0/3, like other aggressive decks that use buffs, like Fungal Mancer and Defender of Argus and that type of thing. They could actually use the 0/3, but against decks that aren't going to be able to use the 0/3 very much, I think this card could be nice. I'm not sure exactly what deck you're going to put this into. Like I feel like you're more likely to put this in an aggressive deck and like try and use it for early tempo rather than Predatory Instinct, a 4-mana rare druid spell. Draw a beast from your deck, double its health. So, the obvious big druid beast is Tarantus. You get a 12/24 Tarantus, which is pretty crazy. You've obviously got Hadronox, but you don't really want Hadronox's health to be more. You want it to have low health, and no matter what its health is, you're probably going to naturalize it anyway. There's things like Charged Devilsaur, Witchwood Grizzly, some other big beasts. It is quite a slow card. Like, getting this on Tarantus would be sick, but I don't know. It just seems like a fairly average card. It is good on Witchwood Grizzly as well. Like, Witchwood Grizzly obviously has 12 health. You can get to 24. That is a big deal. So that could maybe be a thing. Predatory Instincts into Witchwood Grizzly. I just feel like there's so many, there's just so many good druid decks right now that it's hard to find a deck that this card's going to fit into. Haunting Visions. A 3-mana epic shaman spell. The next spell you cast this turn costs 3 less. Discover a spell. So, you get to, obviously you could potentially have something in your hand, like a Volcano, or a Hex, whatever, Lightning Storm, and then you can make that cost 3 less. Or you can, but you could also have the option of discovering the spell and then using that spell as, at like 3 less mana. So, I mean, what this is basically doing is, it's basically kind of like, discover a spell for 0 mana, because you're spending 3 mana, but then you're saving 3 mana. And discovering a spell for 0 mana is really good. The downside is that, you have to play the spell this turn. You can't just, like, Haunting Visions and then get something cheap the next turn. Like, you have to play the Haunting Visions, get something cheap, and then play something else. So it's not like you can just, like, do a 5 mana, do Volcano on turn 5. Unless you play this, and then discover Volcano from it, and then you have a 2-mana Volcano, like... I mean, no, what am I even talking about? You can do, of course you can do that. You can do Haunting Visions and Volcano on turn 5. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's just a good card. Like, maybe you want to play this in, like, a Control Shaman deck. Because Shaman has some very powerful spells, but not... It also has a lot of weak spells. Like, Hex, Lightning Storm, Volcano are kind of the 3 spells that come to mind in, like, the current meta that are just really powerful Control Shaman cards. So what this could do is potentially allow you to get more copies of those. Things like Earthshock is also very good right now. Yeah, will this card see any play? I don't know. It's hard to say. Because there's Shaman spells for different situations. Like, if you're playing a control deck, there's loads of Shaman spells you're not going to want, like Bloodlust and Totemic Might and anything that's like kind of buffing totems. Anything to do with buffs you don't want when you're playing a control deck, really. So, kind of just the variance of different Shaman spells might make this not as nice as it looks. Okay. Princess Talanji. Now, this is a crazy card. 8 mana, 7/5, legendary. Priest. Battlecry, summon all minions from your hand that didn't start in your deck. Now, in Priest, you've got lots of cards that don't really see much play right now, but things like Thoughtsteal and Mind Vision that can kind of steal cards from your opponent's deck or class. The thing about that is you're not guaranteed to get minions. Like, you could end up getting spells. But the potential for this card is huge. Like, there's also things like you can play Elise, get like the pack, get minions from the pack. There's the 5 mana Devour Mind, which adds 3 cards from your opponent's. You can also like Zola things. You can use Zola on stuff. Basically, this card, it's kind of like a lot of the ways of getting more minions in your hand is like randomness. But the tempo you can get out of this is potentially huge. I'm really looking forward to like building a deck around this and just literally just playing a deck that like steals a load of stuff and then you play this as like a big finisher. Like, I'm not convinced that type of deck will be like really good or anything, but the card itself might find a place somewhere, because if you can just find some ways of adding more things to your hand. There's also a new priest spell that adds stuff to your hand, right? Which could make this good. Basically, this could be good in like a control priest deck. I like this card a lot. Okay, Murloc Tasty Fin. 4 mana 3/2 Murloc. Death Rattle, draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. It's kind of like, it's got bad stats, but a good Death Rattle effect. I mean, it's kind of similar to like Elven Minstrel in a way, but it's a Murloc. So it gets buffed by like War Leader and Cold Light Seer and Megasaur and that type of thing. So even though it looks bad for a Murloc, because generally Murlocs are trying to be really aggressive, and it's got bad stats for a 4-drop, it does actually have a good effect. Like, its effect is good. I don't think Murlocs will kind of see any kind of resurgence or anything like that. To be fair, there has been like some Murloc Mage around recently, but yeah, I'm not sold on the Murlocs. Not a terrible card though. Overlords Whip. 3 mana 2/4 warrior weapon. After you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. Now, over like a long period of time, you can get a lot of value out of this. Like, it's got 4 durability, which is a lot. There's quite a few minions in Warrior that you could use this with. You can play Acolyte of Pain, you can play Armor Smith, you can play Gromash, you can play Rotface. Quite a lot of minions that you actually get benefit out of from damaging them. Red Band Wasp. The downside is that because it's got 4 durability, you can't really play things like Blood Razor after it. Like, Blood Razor is like one of the best anti-aggro weapons in the game. Like, maybe you could play this in Odd Warrior, but are you really playing enough minions that you actually want to deal damage to? I guess is the question. It's just a bit slow. Like, if you're against an aggressive deck that's playing, like, things like Fledgling or SI7 Agent, basically things with 3 health that you want to kill, you would rather just play Fiery Works, purely because you're killing the minion instantly, rather than just having... Like, the difference between 2 and 3 attack is a pretty big deal. Obviously, if this had 3 attack, it would be absolutely insane. But, yeah, how often can you actually get value out of the dealing 1 damage to your own stuff? Maybe a fair amount of the time, honestly. You could, like, coin this out on 3 and then play Acolyte the following turn. That's pretty nice. So I can definitely see uses for this. But I feel like you want to play it in a similar deck to where you play Blood Razor, and I think Blood Razor is just better. Spirit of the Raptor. This is the Druid Spirit. 1 mana 0/3, stealth for 1 turn. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, draw a card. Now, Druid Hero Power only obviously does 1 damage. After you've played your Death Knight, you can get 3 attack. Make it do 3 damage. There's cards like Bite and Gnash and Claw, which never really see any play. but this would have synergy with those. Drawing a card is a powerful effect. Like, the fact this is only 1 mana is actually pretty sweet. Like, it's literally a 1 mana 0/3, which isn't that terrible in the first place. Like, a 1 mana 1/3 is, like, pretty... Like, Diamond is 1 mana 1/3, which is a pretty good card. This is a 1 mana 0/3 with an upside. Like, you could potentially play this with buffs. Things like Mark of the Wild and Power of the Wild, and actually make... Maybe even play this in an aggressive deck. There's also a new card that they just revealed on the reveal stream, which is Pounce, which is 0 mana, give your hero 2 attack, which this card is amazing with. Maybe you could allow some kind of aggro-y druid to be a thing again with like Spirit of the Raptor and Pounce and some more early things. But yeah, even though it will often be awkward to set up hero attacks drawing killing things, unless you have things like Pounce or you're in Death Knight form or you play like Claw, Gnash, and Bite, which you don't want to do. Like those cards you don't really want to play. Sometimes Savage Draw, like you can Savage Draw and use that to kill something if you've already got a bit of a board, but because it's 1 mana, like I would say this card is really bad, but because it's 1 mana, it makes it like, yeah, it's really not that bad. I mean, I don't think you'd put this in any of the current Druid decks on ladder. Like, I don't think you're not gonna put this in like Malagos Druid or Torgoggle Druid or anything like that. Grifter. 4 mana 4/5, Battlecry, discover 2 cards, give 1 to your opponent at random. This is a neutral legendary. So 4 mana 4/5 is obviously standard stats for a 4-drop. It seems like one of those cards where it's just like a fun card. There's nothing more to it than that. But there's definitely situations where you can discover cards to work in your favor. Like, say obviously you're in a game. Say you're the aggressor and you're trying to kill your opponent and your opponent is being defensive. You can easily just discover 2 aggressive cards. And so no matter which one you discover, it's good for you. And no matter which one you discover and he gets, it's bad for him. Like, there's always going to be a card that... Like, every single card is going to be better for one of you in a certain situation. Like, say you're playing Hunter, and you're about to kill him, and you get kill command from one of them, and then, like, Arcane Shot from the other one. Like, you're going to get burn damage either way. So, this card is better than it looks like. I think it's one of those cards that just looks like, oh, what's the point in that? It's not really, doesn't really do much, but... The fact that you get to discover both of them, yes, you don't know which one's going to your opponent, but having the choice twice is kind of interesting. I don't think this will kind of be seen much, but I like the card and I like what it's trying to do. You could also potentially use it in mill decks. Like, you give your opponent a card and then you, like, naturalize. It's potentially a thing. Okay, Arcanasaur, a 6 mana 3/3 elemental. Battlecry, if you play an elemental last turn, deal 3 damage to all of the minions. So, instantly, this just looks like a Duskbreaker that's 2 more mana. Which it kind of is. But you're playing it in an elemental deck rather than the dragon deck. Like, Dragon Priest is obviously quite kind of like a mid-rangey or control-y deck. Elemental Mage could potentially be more aggressive. We've also got the new 0 mana spell that makes the next elemental you play cost 2 less. So we can play this for 4 mana and play as a Duskbreaker. Also, like, you might want to play a kind of Elemental Mage that uses Book of Spectres, which is going to be a very minion-heavy deck, doesn't play many spells, which means you're probably not going to be playing many AoEs, things like Flame Strikes and Blizzard and Dragon's Fury, you're probably not going to be playing. So Arcanasaur just kind of gives you that option in like a slower, like in a slower minion-heavy deck. This is actually a really good card. I think this card's very good, actually. Yeah, I like this card a lot. Because, like, with Jaina, like an elemental control style deck should be able to be really good purely because of Jaina if you have the other cards to support it. And this is the type of card that supports that deck really well. Okay. Faraci Battle Axe. 5 mana 3/3 overkill. Give a minion in your hand +2/2. This weapon is like... I want to like this weapon. Because I love value heavy weapons. But it's just so slow. Like 5 mana 3/3 is just not good stats for a weapon. And I feel like a lot of the time, like there are a lot of 3 health minions in the game. I feel like a lot of the time you're going to want to be killing 3 health minions rather than 1 or 2 health minions. And although there's some minions that are good to hand buff, like Saronite Chain Gang and stuff, I just think it's a bit too, I think it's a little bit too slow. Like we've already got Valnir, which is kind of similar. And Valnir doesn't really get to see any play. Except sometimes in even Paladin, but yeah. I don't think this card is quite good enough. Maybe in Arena, I guess. Like, in Arena, maybe. Totemic Smash. 1 mana Shaman spell. Deal 2 damage, overkill, summon a basic totem. This card's really good. This card's really good. Like, we've got, like, Holy Smite and Arcane Shot in Priest and Hunter, which is just a spell that deals 2 damage. This is the same, but it has a possible upside sometimes. You obviously have totems as your hero power in Shaman, and so there'll be sometimes in the mid or late game where you've got spell damage totem up, so this can sometimes be deal 3 damage overkill and summon a basic totem. And basic totems are surprisingly useful a lot of the time. Like, I feel like this might just be good in like a tokeny Shaman deck, or some kind of more aggressive Shaman deck where you can use this for burst to finish people off. Or more likely, you can kill things like 2/1 minions like Cobalt Lyraean and stuff to like remove and develop at the same time to set up for like Flame Tongue Term and stuff. This card is just like, it's just a good card. Yeah, it's just a good card. Grim Rally. 1 mana, destroy a friendly minion, give your minions +1/+1. So, this type of card shows how strong like Mark of the Lotus was. Like 1 mana, give all your minions +1/+1 was insanely strong. This is similar, but you need to destroy something. Like, a lot of the time in like a zoo type deck, you don't really want to kill your own minions. You could play potentially things like Devil Soreg, and then destroy that. And then suddenly you have something you really want to destroy, and then you can happily buff all your minions. But a lot of the time, there's not going to be one of the things you want to kill. So, yeah. If you've got a 1/1, I mean, I guess you're usually fine killing off a 1/1 to give everything +1/+1. But you also need to have a wide board. Like, there's no point killing one of your own minions just to buff, like, 2 guys. Like, you need to be buffing, like, 3+ guys with this for it to be worth sacrificing something. I just kind of don't feel like Zoo is, like, tokeny enough right now. It's a little bit more... It has potential, though. Like, when you do get the really wide boards, it can be really good for, like, pushing a lot of damage. It's good against things like Spreading Plague, for example. This card's really good against that because you can have a wide board of things with like 1 or 2 health. You could be like, oh, he's got a Spreading Plague for next turn. Okay, I'll just attack by 2/1, kill off by 2/1. Oh, and now my 2/2s are 3/3s. And they do significantly better against Spreading Plague. So it's a hard one to say whether it's going to be good or not. Spirit of the Frog, the Shaman Spirit. It's a rare. Stealth for 1 turn. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a spell from your deck that costs 1 more. I actually think a lot of the spirits are kind of going to be better than they look. And the nice thing about this is that you pretty much know what you're going to draw from it. Like, if you play Hex with this on the board, and the only 5-mana spell in your deck is Volcano, like, you're going to draw Volcano. And there's lots of situations in Shaman specifically, because Hex is so powerful, and then, like, Lightning Storm and Volcano are so powerful as AoEs. There's lots of situations where you're like, oh, I just need a Hex right now, and then I'll probably win the game. Or I just need a Volcano right now, and then I'll probably win the game. And so, it's just kind of ensuring that you're kind of getting this card you need. Like, you against, say, even Warlock, they play the Mountain Giant. You're kind of screwed in a lot of situations, unless you get that Hex. So you can coin that Spirit of the Frog out, follow it up with, like, a Farsight, and then you know next turn you're going to be drawing Hex. So, I mean, you know you're currently going to be drawing Hex, so then you can Hex the dude. So it's nice for finding what you need. Like, you can even use spells inefficiently just because you know what you're going to get. You can, like, Hex a 1/1 just because you want to get Volcano. Just because you're desperate to get Volcano. I feel like in general situations, though, I would rather play Mana Tide than this. In general situations, I would probably rather play Mana Tide. Crowd Roaster. 7 mana, 7/4 Dragon. Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, deal 7 damage to an enemy minion. So, 7 mana for a 7/4 is very expensive. The upside of this is that it's obviously a dragon, so you can use it with the... Is it Warmaster Voom, the warrior legendary that duplicates all dragons in your hand? I basically just thinking of this as a removal. I'm just a removal with a body attached. And I honestly think that even though the stats are so bad, I feel like in a control dragon warrior deck, I think this is a perfectly fine card to play. You remove a big threat and develop something, like... It's okay, you're not going to be developing much in Control Warrior. Like, it's more about removal, and this is just removal in a body. I don't know, I just feel like it's slightly better than it looks. If you're playing, like, an odd Dragon Warrior, you'd probably play this. If you're playing odd Warrior as well, like, Shield Slam is your best, like, single-target removal. Crowd Roaster can also be used as another single-target removal. Okay, Akali the Rhino. An 8-mana 5/5 Beast. Warrior Legendary. Rush, Overkill, draw a Rush minion from your deck. Give it +5/+5. So... It's 8 mana, so by that time, you'll have drawn a few cards. You can't just be playing, like, 1 or 2 Rush cards in your deck, because you might have drawn them by turn 8, and then you're not going to be able to use them. So you got to be playing a few Rush minions if you're playing this card. So the type of deck that this might fit into, like, what it does is actually pretty good. Like, you've essentially got 10/10 worth of stats for 8 mana, that all have rush. So in a weird way, it's kind of like a 10-10 rush for 8 mana. I mean, it's not exactly like that, obviously. You do have to overkill, obviously, which is honestly not going to be that difficult, I don't think. You could potentially even kill 2 things with this. Like, with overkill cards, like, yes, you rush this, you kill, like, say you're against Warlock, they've played, like, a Void Lord or whatever, you just killed it. You rush into their Void Walker, you still have a 5-4 on the board. You've also now drawn this other Rush Minion's massive in your hand. They have to kill a Kali, or you're going to draw another Rush Minion and buff that as well. And giving Rush Minions buffs is better than giving, like, normal Minions buffs, because, obviously, they're able to charge in it. Well, not charge, rush into bigger things. So yeah, I think this card would actually be pretty good in some kind of like mid-range tempo warrior. I'm not convinced that that type of deck will be good, but if that deck was to be good, I think this would be really nice in it. Stampeding Roar. Summon a random beast from your hand and give it rush. So, you could rush out your Hadronox for 6 mana. You could use your... Where's it gone? You could use your Predatory Instincts to double your Tyrantus' health. And then use Stampeding Roar to pull out your 24 health Tyrantus, PogChamp. Like, I do think Stampeding Roar has good synergy with that 4-mana spell, but other than with that 4-mana spell, I just don't think this card's very good. Like, you've already got Charged Devil Soul, which already pretty much has Rush. Hadronox, I guess you can trade it into something. But do we have Naturalizers anyway? I mean, people play Geist to play around Naturalize. Maybe you want to play this to pull out your Hadronox to play around Geist. You trade Hadronox into something and then, like... I don't know, use Wrath on it or something to finish it off. But yeah, it honestly just looks a bit too clunky. Okay, a 3-mana Hunter spell that's an epic. Discover a minion. Discover a minion in your deck. If all 3 are beasts, draw them all. Now, Hunter has always... Okay, maybe not always. Like, there was one time when Starving Buzzard was kind of OP. But generally, Hunter has always really struggled with card draw. Now, this is potentially a really powerful card draw for Hunter. Like, 3 mana, draw 3 cards is really, really good. And in, like, aggressive, like, Beast Hunter type decks, you generally have pretty good early game. And then you played your high main, and after that, you've kind of run out of steam. You're not that far off finishing your opponent, but then you're just drawing these average... Like, you're not really drawing much. You're drawing 1 card at a time and not really getting much. This could really, really help in that type of deck. Obviously, you need to be playing a lot of beasts. You can play... It says discover a minion in your deck, so you can play whatever spells, weapons, Death Knights you like. You might want to play some non-beast minions, like this card's like Handmaster, which is so powerful that you're probably going to want to play it. And there's the 3-mana 3/4 that whenever you draw a beast, give it +2/+2. That's another minion that's not a beast that you might want to play because it would fit so well in the deck. But yeah, Handmaster and that 3/4 dude are the 2 cards that kind of are going to be awkward because you really want to play them in a beast deck, but then you also really want to play this card. Yeah, this card's potentially really good. Obviously, if you don't get them as beasts, you still get to discover the minion. It's kind of just like Stitch Tracker without the 2/2 body, which is obviously bad. So you need them to be beasts, generally. I'm excited to play a Beast Hunter deck, though. Because you can play Secrets and Weapons and Spellstone and Death Knight and that type of thing, and then just play a bunch of beasts. This card's exciting. Okay, War Druid Loti. 3-mana 1/2. Choose one, transform it into one of Loti's 4 dinosaur forms. Let me see if I can get the forms up, because I know what the forms are, but I know you guys might not. But basically, they all suck. Basically, they all suck. But in Wild, you can play with Fandral and get this really 1 OP 3-mana minion. Okay, here are War Druid Loti's forms. We have 3-mana 1/2 Poisonous Stealth, 3-mana 1/6 Taunt Beast, 3-mana 4/2 Rush, and 3-mana 1/4 Spell Damage +1. This is what the wild guy looks like, by the way. A 3-mana 4/6 Taunt, Rush, Poison, Stealth, Spell Damage +1. That guy's insane. Obviously, you gotta use it with Fandral there. But that's really cool. But yeah, basically these are kind of... They're all just bad. Like, obviously there's situations where a Poison Stealth minion is going to be really good. You're against Even Warlock, you want to kill a Mountain Giant. Yes, Poison Stealth, great. Or you're against a Zoo-type deck, you've got to 7 mana, you want spell damage, so you can do War Druid Loti Swipe with the spell damage guy. So, the flexibility of this does make it maybe playable. Like, you're not going to want to play War Druid Loti if you're playing Oaken Summons. But, where's he gone? There he is. Yeah, it's just a weak card that's very flexible. It's hard to say it's bad though, because very flexible cards always turn out to be better than they look. So there's always that, but really it just doesn't look that great. Okay, Big Bad Voodoo. 2 mana, give a friendly minion death rattle, summon a random minion that costs 1 more. So this is more kind of evolved shaman type things. It's death rattle rather than doing it instantly, which is kind of good because you get to actually make the most. Like usually when you're evolving a minion, you just upgrade. Whereas with this, you're going to be having the minion, wait till that minion dies, and then get a bigger minion, or probably a bigger minion. So I actually really like this card. You can also use it with, is it called Zentimo? The new Shaman Legendary? Yeah, Zentimo. Whenever you target a minion with a spell, it also targets adjacent ones. So you can do Zentimo with it, which is potentially really cool. So yeah, I like this card. You're obviously going to want to play this in a evolved type Shaman where you have board control. You can only use it on 1 minion though. So you gotta choose wisely. Things like Fungal Mancer, Corridor Creeper are always gonna be good to use it on. I've always been a big fan of Evolved Shamans, so this type of card gets me excited. Even if it is 2 mana just to evolve 1 minion, but what you can do is, like, if you use it on someone like Fungal Mancer, you're basically spending 2 mana to give it Death Rattle, summon a 6 mana minion, which is really good. And use it on Corridor Creeper, Death Rattle, summon an 8 mana minion. Like, it's just good. Okay, Ember Scale Drake. Now, I think this has the coolest art of all of the cards that have been revealed so far. The art of this card is really, really cool. It's a 5-mana 5/5 rare warrior dragon. Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, gain 5 armor. So, it's basically Shield Maiden, but for 1 mana less. As long as you're playing dragons. Shield Maiden probably wouldn't be played right now in Standard. I think it would be a bit too weak. This is 1 mana cheaper, though, which makes it good. Like, I see no reason why you wouldn't play this in a control Dragon Warrior deck. And you gotta just play it for the art, man. The art is everything. Okay, Blood Scalp, Strategist. 3 mana 2/4, Battle Cry. If you have a weapon equipped, discover a spell. So if you have a weapon equipped, discover a spell. In Hunter, you have, like, Candle Shot and Eaglehorn Bow are the most common weapons, which both see quite a lot of play. How often are you gonna have them equipped, though? And what spells do you actually want to discover in Hunter? Like, a lot of the time from this card, you're probably going to discover a secret, which is, like, okay. But this is only a 3 mana 2/4. Like, it's not very good stats. Like, you're going to have to be playing, like, a control Hunter. Like basically, you're going to want to be playing a control Hunter deck to play this card. Like, you would much rather play, if you're trying to be aggressive, you'd rather play Anno Companion, Bear Shark, Bow Kill Command, that type of thing. Obviously, this could potentially get you a Kill Command, but you just want the tempo. So, it's an interesting card, but I don't think it's quite, fitting to what Hunter needs. I mean, there's things like maybe if you're playing like a deck that's you doesn't want to play any early beasts. So you're playing like Katharina, and you might be playing the Seeping Oozling. You don't want to play many early beasts at all, and so you can play this, which is, you know, a body and finding you another spell to help. But I just can't see it working really. Okay, here we go. Elemental Evocation. The next elemental you play this turn costs 2 less. 2 less! This card is insane. You can play Blazecaller for 5 mana. You could literally play Firefly on turn 1, and then play something like Leyline Manipulator or something on turn 2. You can have like a 2 mana 4/5. Or 2 mana 5/4 if you use the Geezer guy. This card could potentially make Elemental Mage really, really good. Obviously, it's very low value. So with this type of card, your hand is going to be getting emptied pretty fast. So you're going to need to be playing more cards that add more stuff to your hand, which you can do with elementals. Like, you can play Bonfire Elemental, which is 3... Well, it's 5 mana, 5/5 draw a card. If you played an elemental last turn. This can make it 3 mana. So that's the type of card that will go really nicely with Elemental Evocation. This card is just great. I'm really hyped for Elemental Mage now, actually. Okay, Sightless Ranger. 5 mana 3/4 Rush. Overkill, summon 2 1/1 bats. Now, this is just one of those cards that, in Standard, it's never going to see any play. Like, it's not a terrible card, but it's also not great. In Arena, this might be more useful. Like, you can kill anything with 3 or less health, and you get your 3/4 that kills it, and then you get your 2 1/1s. So, in Arena, this is fine. In Standard, pretty pointless. Captain Hook Tusk. An 8 mana 6/3 Rogue Pirate. Battle Cry, summon 3 pirates from your deck and give them Rush. Now, this one I've thought a lot about, like, is this good or not? Because every time I think about it, I can always see both sides. Like, it's 8 mana in a deck that's trying to be very aggressive. And it's only summoning pirates, which are generally really small and not that aggressive. However, there are a couple of new pirates this could be good with. There's the 5 mana 4/3. Overkill, draw 2 cards, which this is amazing with because you can pull the 5/3 out of your deck. It has rush, overkill something, then you draw 2 cards. So this is fantastic with that. And like maybe an even pirate rogue could be a thing. There's also Cannon Barrage, which you want to have lots of pirates on the board to get lots of value out of it. And this is a card that's allowing you to get lots of pirates. Like Pirate Rogue is probably not going to have that much card draw. So this could just be good as like a finisher, kind of like a last hurrah type of thing. Like similar in some senses to how like Dr. Boom or Ragnaros used to work in like aggressive to mid-range decks. It would just be kind of like the one big threat. This would probably just be the one bigger threat in a Pirate Rogue deck. And I think it's actually kind of good. I think it's good. Because, like, especially because in Pirate Rogue, like, you're going to be playing aggressive, you're going to be playing lots of stuff, your opponent's going to have to deal with your stuff, remove them, and then they'll have used a lot of removal already, you'll be almost out of steam, and then this is just like a, bam, okay, here's a load of more stuff to deal with. And they'll have already used a lot of reactive things, they'll probably be kind of almost dead because you've been smacking them with pirates and weapons. So I think this is a good card. Seance. Choose a minion, add a copy of it to your hand. It's a 2-mana priest spell. So this is one that could work really nicely with the priest legendary we were talking about earlier. Princess Talanji. And you can use Seance on anything. Wherever it's gone. There it is. Like you can use it on your minions, so you can play Lich King on turn 10 and then use this on it to get another Lich King. You can use it on your opponent's minions if your opponent's played Tyrion or Void Lord or anything like that. And you don't actually have to play the minion. You can literally play Seance and then use the 8-mana legendary to pull it onto the board. So Seance is going to work really nicely with that new guy. And yeah, this is just good in a controlled priest deck. Like if you want value, you're going to want to use this on different things depending on like in different games. Yeah, it's a good card. You can also play things like Witchwood Grizzly in your deck, use this on it, and then when you play your 8-drop, it's pulling you a full health Witchwood Grizzly. That type of thing is good. It's obviously a bit slow, though. Like, why would I play this card when I can just kill people with Mind Blasts? Dip! But yeah, we're going to have some fun with this card. Okay. Final card of this video, we have Gonk, the Raptor. 7 mana Druid Legendary. It's a 4/9 beast. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. Now, 7 mana 4/9 is obviously really bad stats. It's got to have a really good effect. And just because of all the other stuff Druid has right now, its effect just really isn't very good. This could be good with like Pounce. Like you play Gonk and Pounce on the same turn, and you can basically kill a whole board of 1 and 2 health minions. But you are going to take about 1 million damage doing it. Obviously you have to use your Death Knight. You can play Gonk on turn 9. And do your +3 attack hero power and just keep killing things. But once again, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. So yeah, I can't see Gonk quite working out. Obviously, Druid does have a lot of armor gains. So like you got things like Ferocious Howl, Death Knight, Branching Paths, Ultimate Infestation, lots of armor gaining cards that are actually powerful. So maybe in a lot of situations, kind of taking all this damage doesn't really matter. But if you're attacking things and killing things on a board, you're like, I could have just played Spreading Plague and just, you know, dealt with this board a lot easier. And took no damage. So, yeah, I don't think Gonk is great. But, you know, I mean, Druid has a lot of powerful things at the moment. Like, if kind of the new expansion brought out loads more really powerful Druid cards, I think that would be... I don't think that would be a good idea. So, I'm glad that Gonk isn't so strong. Okay. Well, that's another bunch of cards. We have a couple more videos to go. Some more exciting cards. Some that I haven't even seen yet when I recorded this video. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the last lot of cards that are going to be revealed. I'm hyped, and I can't wait. See you guys in the next video.